Hello and welcome to Food for Thought, Insights for Busy Leaders and Managers in just 150 seconds. Today I'd like to talk about the paradox of strategy. It's one of the 12 paradoxes developed by Dr. Dan Harrison, and it's interesting to look at a paradox as potentially two statements which are potentially opposite one another or opposing one another or contradictory to one another, yet both true. And in the case of the Dan Harrison paradoxes, it's about two traits, two behaviors that may seem to be in opposition and contradictory to one another, but when they come together are actually synergistic. So let's have a look at that. If we're very high on risking and out of balance because we're very high on risking and low on analyzed pitfalls, we can end up being seen as impulsive, dashing ahead, doing stuff. We're comfortable with the risk, but nobody else is, and they'll go, whoa, David's being very impulsive. On the other hand, if I'm very high on analyzed pitfalls and low on risking, I could be seen as cautious, the one who's always looking for things that could go wrong. And actually, I could miss out on opportunities because I'm overly cautious. So the thing is to be able to balance both of these, the willingness to take a risk, the willingness to and enjoyment of analyzing pitfalls, and that comes together with something called mindful courage, because then you're actually getting the best of both worlds, you're taking calculated risks. And another thing to be aware of with these paradoxes is how, when we're in one or the other, we can demonize the opposite trait. So if I'm very high on analyzed pitfalls, I can think of people who are willing to take a risk as completely impulsive all the time. However, when I get stressed and I'm thinking I might be missing out on something, I could actually flip and become irrationally impulsive myself. And on the other side, people who are very high on risking can often demonize people who are very high on analyzed pitfalls, because they feel that willing to take a risk, and all they hear from other people is, oh, that won't work, this won't work, you need to watch out for this, you need to watch out for that, and they're going like, you're just not seeing it. And that can actually cause a lot of stress within a team, and this can actually, if these people don't listen, can end up in sometimes reckless behavior. So think about where you are with your team. What's the balance of traits that you have with your willingness to take a risk, your willingness to listen to and analyze pitfalls, and where are you in your team and where are your team with that? So it's good food for thought, insights for busy leaders and managers in just 150 seconds.